Hi there, it's Mike Esteb. Thanks for stopping by. You're probably watching this video because you have a home you want to sell and you're doing some research to find the best agent out there. There are a lot of good agents in Gig Harbor, but I can actually offer you a service that no other agent can. Not in Gig Harbor, not in Washington, not even another agent in the entire United States. I know, it's a bold statement, but it's true. Here's the deal. We know that most people today start their home search on the internet, and everyone knows the most popular search phrase is your hometown followed by the words real estate. So if you were searching for a home in San Francisco, you would likely search for San Francisco real estate. In Seattle, you'd search for Seattle real estate. And of course, in Gig Harbor, it would be Gig Harbor real estate. I told you I could offer you something that no other agent can, so here it is. I can put your home on the first page of Google in the very first position. Let me say that again. I can put your Gig Harbor home on the very first page of Google in the very first position when somebody does a search for Gig Harbor real estate or Gig Harbor properties. This is probably the single most powerful thing you could do to sell your Gig Harbor home. Before we continue, I want to let you know that I'm going to cover a lot of information and you'll probably have some questions. You might want to pause this video and grab a pen and a piece of paper. So let's give it a try and see what happens. Let's go to Google and type in Gig Harbor real estate. Okay, the first thing that I want to point out to you is this number here. There are 2,130,000 websites competing for the first page position for the search of Gig Harbor real estate. Of those 2,130,000 websites, my website, Gig Harbor Real Estate, comes up first. Now some of you may notice this pink area and say, hey Mike, that site's up in front of yours. Well, that's ad space, and anybody who is willing to pay Google can end up on the top or on the side. So here what we're talking about are organic results. Organic means the sites that Google feels is most relative. When somebody does a search, they're going to put the site first that they think has the most relevance to the search that you're looking for. And this is based on Google having been to the websites and indexing them and going through the different pages and finding out the type of content that they have on the site. So when you search for Gig Harbor real estate, in Google's mind, my website is the most relevant website out there out of over 2 million websites. Now that I've shown you that I can put your home in first place, let me show you why it's so important to be first and not second or third. Market Samurai is a company that focuses on keyword research and web positioning. They found that 42% of the people that do a search will click on the website in first position, 12% will click on the site in second position, and only 3% will click on a site in seventh. What that means to you is if 1,000 people search for Gig Harbor real estate, 420 will end up on my website, 120 will click on the site in second place, and only 30 of those 1,000 people will go to the site in seventh. So you can see why being first is so important. 420 versus 30 is a huge difference. Just for fun, let's try a few different search phrases. Let's start out with Gig Harbor condos. So here we go. Gig Harbor condos is in first place. It's also worth noting that second place and third place are websites that I own, and the website in ninth place, Gig Harbor Real Estate, comes up ninth in a Gig Harbor condo search, is also a website that I own. Now I want to try another one, which is Gig Harbor Properties. Okay, so Gig Harbor Properties is competing with 3,440,000 websites. And of those over 3 million websites, Google feels that Gig Harbor Properties is the most relevant website for that search. Now I want to do a search for Gig Harbor market condition reports. This is a web search that people do when they're trying to figure out what's going on in the marketplace. What kind of statistics are there out there? How many homes are on the market, and so on. And I think the interesting thing about this search, let me show you this. Of the top 10, the first 8 are all websites that I own. I'm going to do one last search for you, which is the Gig Harbor absorption rate. This is the search that the engineer types do. It's really getting down to the nuts and bolts, the nitty-gritty, what's happening in the market. An absorption rate basically tells you how many months of inventory are there, how quickly are the homes coming and leaving the market. And in this search, of the 10 first page positions, 8 of my websites come up for that search phrase. I told you that I could put your home on the very first page of Google in the very first position. The great thing about this statement is it's verifiable. You can go to Google anytime, do a search, and prove it to yourself that what I'm telling you is true. So let's see what happens when you click on my site. There are very few choices, and all of them lead to my listings in some fashion. A home buyer will likely click on buyers or listings. Let's go to the listings page. Here they are. When you list with me, you are literally 2 clicks away from being found by people starting their home search on the internet. I can see a buyer that would just kind of go around these different images, noticing that each one has a link, and come across a listing that they might find of interest. When they click on it, it brings up another website that I created specifically for this home for sale. Now up here we have the information about the home, the price, and just the basic details. We then have a nice description of it, and then photos. People love photos. And so what we do is we take as many photos as possible. If I can get 10 good photos, I take all 10. If I can get 30 or 40, I'll take as many photos as I can and post them all on the internet. So here's our photo gallery, and this is a good example of the type of pictures that we take. But you can just click through, you can see that they're light and bright and inviting. I think that they show that this is the type of home that someone might want to come take a look at and see if it's right for them. So that's it. That's the service I offer, the service that nobody else can. I'm hopeful at this point you feel good enough to just pick up the phone and call me and say, hey Mike, we want to talk to you about listing our home. But you might need a little bit more information about us. You might want to see a few other things that we do to get homes sold. So if that's the case, then just carry on with this video. Information. Knowledge is power, and I'll provide you with weekly reports on the Gig Harbor real estate market. Gig Harbor Info is where I post our weekly reports. We've generated a market report for Gig Harbor every week since 2004, and they provide a lot of information. Here's an example of how you can use them. I'd like to direct you to this fish that I caught. Actually, I'd like to direct you to the $300,000 to $400,000 price range. And what you're going to see here is on February 29th, there were 66 homes for sale. We had a 32% ratio. Now the ratio is my way of turning the market into a percentage and what's going on. And I found that if it's 45 to 55%, it's a balanced market. If the ratio is higher than 55%, it's in the seller's favor, and lower than 55% is in the buyer's favor. So how would you use this information? You might say, well, gee, 32%, it's a buyer's market. Well, I'd say, let's go back a year. Let's look at February 24th, 2011 in the 3 to 400 price range, and you'll see there were 85 homes, and the ratio was 21%. So when we go back and look at it now, we can say, well, yeah, it is a buyer's market, but it's definitely improving. So if we're a buyer out there, we might want to think about moving forward before the sellers in our price range start to realize that the market is picking up. Okay? One other thing that you'll look at here is the absorption rate. Here we are. The absorption rate, 3 to 400,000, is 7 to uh, in the 3, 6, and 12-month time periods. What the absorption rate is the ability of the market to get rid of all of the homes or to sell off the homes in that price range. It's how quickly they leave the market, or in simple terms, months of inventory. So let's go and look a year back, and in the 300 to 400 price range for absorption rate, we had 8, 10, 12 months of inventory. So to go from that to the 6, 7, 8 months of inventory is certainly an improvement. Let's move on to photography. Here's an example of the type of photos I like to take. If you look at this picture, it's bright, it's crisp, it's in focus, it shows a lot. I don't just kind of walk into a room and snap a picture. I have everything set up on a tripod, and I take a lot of time positioning the camera to capture just the right picture of the home. So here is another home, and this home was on the market for 892 days. 892 days. And I'm showing you this picture because it's an example. It kind of compares the difference of the pictures that I take and pictures that some of my competitors take. Now, one thing that jumps out to me is there's a body on the side of this picture. And I'm not quite sure why, but I'm guessing that there was someone walking around the home. The agent just walked in, snapped a picture, and left. You notice that nothing is really in focus. But now here's the amazing thing. Here's the same home. This is the same kitchen, and I took this picture. And by the way, when I listed this home, it sold in 4 days. So here we go, 892 days on the market, being represented like this, and you can see that there's just no compelling reason for somebody to want to come out and see it. And then here's the picture that I take. And one of the great things about taking photos like this, I get a lot of calls from buyers that say, "Hey Mike, we've been on your website, we've been looking at the pictures of your home. It looks like what we want to buy. We'd like to make an appointment to come see the home." Now here's another picture of the same home. It's the bathroom. And then here's the picture that I took. It's hard to believe it's the same home. Here's another powerful tool. Our marketing flyers. So let me minimize this for you a little bit. We put together a flyer, and we have this every single place that we can put a sign and put a flyer box. And it has some things that are important. Here we have the web address that I talked to you about, where we create a unique website for every single property. But more importantly, I want to point out to you what's on the back. On the back of our flyers, we have all of our listings. We have them with the web address that you can go to get more information. But here is a place where we can literally advertise your home all over town, wherever we have another home for sale. Okay, sometimes people ask, where else are you going to advertise my home? So let me take you to the page that shows the sites that we syndicate our listings to. I'm talking about sites like Google, Yahoo, Craigslist, Point to Homes, Trulia, Oodle, and the list does go on a bit longer here. How about staging? Sometimes a home needs to be staged, and I can help you with that. Look at the difference it can make. This is the same dining room. Here's the living room. So let's talk about our weekly client reports. Each week we send a report to our clients letting them know what we've done in the last week to market their home. And when I think of these reports, I think about my assistant Terry. Boy, she just does a great job, and absolutely nothing seems to fall in the cracks when she's around. But in regard to market reports, I showed up at the office one day to write an offer, and she was there on her day off. And I said, "Oh great, I'm glad you're here. I need help with this offer I'm writing." And she said, "Mike, I'm here on my day off because we didn't get the market reports done, and I'm going to work on the market reports, and I'm going." And I guess I was just really impressed that she was here on her day off, and the reason she was there was the work of the prior week didn't get completed. And she said, "Mike, our clients count on count on us. They count on me to give those reports to them each week so they know what we did. So let me give you just an overview on what this report is all about. You can see here we have a date, and we just have the date and the different activities that we completed on that day. And so as Terry's doing her job of marketing the properties in different areas, she just fills in a report that we can send to you. You can see that it goes on, and the type of information is in here is we're following up with people that showed, setting up a broker's open, making a home book, Craigslist advertisements. We are creating a unique website for your home, and then we email it to everybody that we know, and this just goes on, and every week we send it to you until the home sells. But the great thing about this report is sometimes you might have a week where it feels like nothing's happened, no one's shown up, and you're wondering if anything's going on. Well, when you get this report, you can see all the different things that we did for you during the week, and I know our clients really appreciate that. So we will do this continually until your property sells. And the good news is yesterday I sold this house. So we sold it for full price, and I know that the owners of the home are real excited about that. By the way, my website has both a national and international presence. And I wanted to show you just a snapshot of my traffic for a week period from the 17th to the 24th of February. And during this time period, we had 606 people come from the United States, but we also had people come from Japan, Germany, Spain, India, Australia, Canada, Cayman Islands, the United Kingdom, Switzerland, Croatia, and Romania. So what this means to you is I'm able to advertise your home worldwide. We actually have people from around the world coming to my website to see homes that we have for sale. What an exciting thing to be able to share with a client that I'm going to advertise your home in Gig Harbor, in Washington, throughout the nation, and around the world. The last thing I want to mention is we do have a Facebook presence. And for clients that do interact in Facebook, we're happy to make a Facebook page for you. And it's an area where we could then start having your friends like it and share it with their friends and so on. So that is another type of viral marketing that we're more than happy to get involved in. Okay, that's it. That's what we have to offer. I'm pleased that you took the time to watch this video. And I'm hopeful that I get a phone call from you just saying, hey Mike, we've watched your listing presentation. We're excited about what you have to offer, and we want to list our home with you. So please give me a call, and we can find a time to get together and talk about listing your home and getting it sold. All right, have a great day.